I have a few problems with that. And before I get into the weeds crap, that's the wrong window. Too terribly far, right? I'm going to point out some facts here. The things that no one seems to be saying at all. There's like 5 different elephants in the room about ready to sit on someone's head, and no one's talking about it. So apparently I gotta do it. And credit to my lovely fiance who made the thumbnail for this video. So here's the thing. I'm going to try to pull up, more specifically, the Mario Kart World game that everyone seems to be in such a tizzy about the price tag. Okay, number one, it's a freaking video game. If you don't want to pay what they're asking for it, don't buy it. Okay, that's kind of the first thing that's blatantly obvious. No crap. This price tag right here, the $79.99 MSRP. Yeah, okay. Let's go down here. Manufacturer's suggested retail price. Actual price may vary. That's the first elephant. The second elephant, Mario Kart is a Nintendo exclusive. They can charge whatever the frig they want, because they have no competition on Mario Kart except for other titles that are also kart titles on other systems.
Like Crash Team Racing.
Such as Crash Team Racing, as an example. Okay? When it comes to Mario Kart, you have those 2 elephants in the room as well. Do I think that their $80 asking price is a bit steep for a game? Absolutely, sure. Will they come down on that price tag? Well, let's just ask all the other games that they had pricing. $60 back in 2014, and then when you got the deluxe it was also $60. So yeah, sure, you get a $20 increase, but hang on one second. Where does that make any sense? I'm in the wrong page. Because that really doesn't make any sense, because, you know, if it's so darn much money, we'll go back again. Actually, then how come the price disparity between these two is only $50? The $80 price tag is a shock jock price tag to get everyone pondering whether they should dump money into it or not. I guarantee you that probably either a month after it comes out, or better yet, probably the day it comes out, you'll find out that it's like $10 cheaper than what they're advertising. Which, by the way, in my opinion, for a Mario Kart game, is still a little too much. $60 is a little too much for most video games, in my opinion. In fact, I've always been pondering the $60, $70 price tag to begin with as a why do they cost that much? They're video games. It's not like it's some life-saving piece of technology. Well, I mean, unless you're out in the woods alone and, you know, boredom makes fools of us all. That's a joke about relating to a previous video. That's adjusted for inflation. Bitch, that's not what I asked you. I don't give a rip about adjusted for inflation. I remember 2014 very well. Okay, so they have it listed as $60 today for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for the Switch. Oh, wow. According to this, Mario Kart for the Wii, the trivia, was $250. That's a lot of fucking money, isn't it?
Mm.
In fact, actually, that leads me to the next elephant in the room. Just because Nintendo's first party games are being charged so much does not mean all Nintendo Switch 2 games are going to cost $80 friggin' dollars. If that were the case, the like 10 indie games that I bought on the Switch 1, following that same logic, instead of paying like $1 to $2 to $5, by that very same logic, those would have cost me $60 a pop on the Switch. That is retarded logic that a lot of people aren't saying out loud. Okay, they're first party games, they're exclusives to the system. I mean, technically speaking, Nintendo can charge whatever they want for their games, just like indie devs can. Is it outrageous that they're charging $80? Sure. Do I agree with them charging that much? Not really. But it's what they want to charge for their games on their system that only work on their system officially. So, I mean, whatever. No one is saying this stuff. Not one person has said this. No one has said these things at all. In fact, I just popped up to my creator dashboard to see if someone in my comment section on Kick would say anything. Let's go to my Rumble. No one said, no one's even really watching that one. Let's see. Just so you guys can see it for yourself. I got one person watching on YouTube and no comments about it. Okay. So I see a few problems with all the fear porn that's being floated around, and sorry, YouTube, for using the P word that you guys don't like so much. Not one person out there has mentioned even remotely any of this stuff. Any. They just say $80 video games from Nintendo. Okay. Yeah, and that's another thing too. I see a whole lot when you search this up, okay, that say insider gaming reports. Another thing, where I've searched their website. While not in press release information, Nintendo has inadvertently confirmed that the Switch 2 games will be priced at $80 and $90 for physical cartridge games. Where? Where? Show me what you have. Yeah, for what? Mario Kart? Mario Kart, this same Mario Kart that the one on the Wii cost $250? Excuse me? This same Mario Kart. Hang on. It's family and I gotta take it. Got some family things that are going on. Um, so here's the deal. Mario Kart is again a first party game. If you wanted to pick something to bitch about the pricing, this is not it. I do have things to bitch about, and I'm actually going to pull them up. Hmm. And that's not how you do that. How much longer are we going to have to pay this much for controllers? Again, going to raise the same point. This is just supposed to be a piece of plastic with a charging bit for the Joy-Cons. These are like literally 3D, they're basically 3D printed plastic hookups with cloth rope straps attached to them. This is pretty much the normal price for these, and it comes with two, so that's kind of whatever. It's basically a USB-C webcam. Kind of got an issue with the $50 price tag on that, but the camera that I bought that I'm streaming to you guys on, I paid a good $50-$60 for. This is not surprising. The Nintendo Switch carry cases when they come out. When the new system comes out, they usually cost a pretty penny anyway. Probably pay about that much for my cell phone charger when I buy a new cable and a wall plug for it, because I like the fast charge wall plugs. So, you know, that's all stuff that I can sit here and kind of shrug off. But when you remove the Mario Kart, right? And by the way, the Mario Kart price tag being $80. Let me kind of stop you right there. That's the MSRP value. Okay? That does not mean, number one, that price tag is going to remain that. Okay? MSRP can change at the whim of a manufacturer, and they can outright say, well, we kind of thought that price was a little high, but we figured we'd spitball it anyway. Everything on here is MSRP, by the way, which means it's a suggested retail price. Actual price may vary. Applies to everything that hasn't been released for the Nintendo Switch 2 yet. Okay? All that means is they're workshopping the price. They probably saw all of you boneheads in chat dropping the drop the price thing on there. And they're probably sitting there curious about what you meant because, and we'll get into that too, if the Joy-Cons are in fact $90, okay, the charging grip is $35. That's $130. Okay, what else does it come with? The dock set is another $109. You're only paying $200 and something for the system itself. Probably right around $200. And the rest of the stuff that comes with the system is majority of the remaining price. And I'm probably not got the portionality of math right on that, but it is pretty freaking close. In fact, actually, let's just go with what they're saying here. It says sold separately, and yet, home, featuring games, blah, 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 better idea. Let's just go to what's in the box. Really? No, it wants me to sign in, and I forgot that we switched the hard drives in this computer, and therefore all of my passwords that were saved are not anymore. So.
Well, at least you remember your stuff.
Yeah, I do, but it's very intrusive on a stream to have to type this crap in.
Oh, yeah.
Realistically speaking, this is my own fault. I should have had this.
Prepared.
Yeah. And I'll probably get the password wrong. They want email verification and all this other crap.
Would you like a fresh water?
Yes, please. I would very much love a fresh water. So Mom's contemplating going back to Arkansas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Why?
I will explain when we're off stream.
Okay.
Because it's quite personal. How personal? Quite.
I totally forgot this drink on the counter, so I was kind of like, where did my drink go?
Just put it somewhere. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I also just say that this having to do verification codes every time I turn around is a massive pain in the ass?
It really is.
Okay, so yes, I registered to pre-order one, which does this really annoying thing where you can't. They don't actually tell you what's going to be in the box.
No. That's the how to buy page.
Well, you can actually safely assume that it's obviously going to have the dock set, the charging handles, and the Joy-Cons.
Just by looking at the case.
Yeah. So, actually, when I say the console itself, I mean just the tablet alone is like $200 on its own. So when you add the price tag of everything in, and the fact that they're throwing in one of their games, that again, they can also, you know, that they themselves can basically dictate the price on, yeah. Kind of sucks to suck, but... Oh, and then there's the $5 HDMI cable that you get with it, but we all know how that is. Especially if you're online for any reason whatsoever. What actually should be more at issue would be this line right here, I think. Okay, well that, really gonna be honest with you, that kind of doesn't matter. I actually wasn't aware that this list existed. Go away. Oh, Doom Eternal's on the list. Eey. Which Final Fantasy? The first one? Oh, they'll definitely have that fixed. Final Fantasy is a huge game title that... It's a large IP with a whole lot of backing. And then some. I'm actually looking to see if any of their... like, their core properties show any signs of having issues. Trove, that's interesting, I guess. Warframe, ooh. Okay, that is interesting. Okay, so the list isn't actually that long, but it does have... Oh, hang on. I thought that said Super Mario for a second there. But it looks like none of their first-party titles are on it, which is... Well, okay, the Arcade Archives, maybe Pac-Land, Dig Dug. I'm not sure about that, though. And again, they are looking into these issues and their startup issues. Okay. $122 Nintendo games. Interesting. I'd be interested in that information. Well, Alan Wake Remastered's on that list. That sucks. Was Tetris a Nintendo? I have to look into that. It's been a minute. I'm not really a big Tetris fan anyway. Oh, come on, guys. It's Capcom. You guys have been working together since, like, the 80s. Take a chill. Get their stuff and... Okay. Well... Alien Isolation? pretty good horror game, actually. Kind of sucks. Okay. But it looks like a pretty vast majority of the Nintendo games in general, it it's actually a very low number that aren't compatible with it. So okay. Oh, so for whatever reason, there are games that you can't play with the Joy-Con 2 controllers. You have to use the original Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons, which do connect to the Nintendo Switch 2, so I don't really see the problem there. I mean, aside from the fact that if you didn't have a Nintendo Switch to begin with, that's an added expense if you wanted to play one of these titles. Oh, and it's not like it's completely not compatible. It's probably just a small issue. Okay. Again, as a gamer, I don't know many people who actually play these three. Although it is a pretty cool use case scenario, I guess. But, like, it's made out of cardboard, mostly. That's more of a thing for kids, anyway. I mean, depending on who you ask, gaming's for kids. Yeah, whatever. Shove it. Stuff it. Yeah, that game actually did look pretty fun. My biggest question is are they going to make this hinge system actually worth a crap? Because the first Nintendo Switch, like, the first thing that happened was mine broke off. She's either got really small hands or this controller is going to be actually pretty sizable. I say she, it could be a he with small hands, but, you know, you don't know. I'm not a, what's the technical term for someone who observes hands?
I wouldn't know.
I wouldn't either. Let's see. They never give us any real technical information here. And that's my big problem with Nintendo's advertisement. They'll never give you any real technical data. It's just going to be generic, like a 6-year-old that just learned how to read can understand most of what they're saying, kind of thing. Which is kind of a shame because, you know, I'd like to actually see the technical stats of the thing that I'm buying. Not a big fan of this whole concealment thing. I want to know the graphics card. I want to know the sound card. I want to know the motherboard. I want to know their speeds. I want to know what they compare to other, you know, devices. I want to see the benchmark data. I want to understand why we need to have a special memory card that has a much higher read and write speed. I mean, there's probably a very good logistical reason for that, but it'd just be a nice thing to know. I'd also like to know why one that is like a quarter the size of the terabyte that I'm using in my Switch right now is the same price as when I bought my terabyte. I mean, these are, by the way, these are all really good questions that no one has the nuts to ask, I guess. And judging by, you know, the lack of involvement on stream and on Rumble, I mean, usually my streams don't pick up until a good hour or two into it, which I'm not here to do today. Anyway, yeah, that was a topic I had to cover with somebody today. Yeah, no, there's a lot of questions not being asked legitimately, and a lot of people aren't saying the things that need to be said because they want to dogpile on Nintendo, or they just have an overall negative opinion of Nintendo. To be honest, I don't have a real negative opinion about. Well, I do actually. I have a couple, but nothing that they couldn't resolve in like a week or less if they really wanted to. For example, the Pal World issue just dropped a lawsuit. Big deal. They made a game. They're outperforming you using their game. Instead of filing a lawsuit against them, you should be offering them a contract and trying to partner up with them because they obviously made a good game. Duh. That's the kind of obvious question answer to the question, but there again, no one's asking the right questions. Everyone is looking to jump on things. I don't mind jumping on bandwagons, but you got to be careful that the wheels aren't going to fall off. MSRP values can change. You know? And I actually need to change that. I'll deal with it in a minute. I don't think it'll let me change it right now anyway. But yeah, no, it's just, when are people going to start asking the right questions? I, about the games thing, it's okay to be upset about the price of the games, and I do understand the MSRP thing, right? Like, they are suggested prices by the manufacturer on first party products, and I understand that upsets people, but when you're making an exclusive game specifically for a console that's only supposed to be compatible with that console, and you make the console, really, you can make the price tag whatever you want. Nothing says you can't. Hell, they could put out a rip-off of Final Fantasy 1 and list it as $80. Doesn't mean anyone's gonna buy it. But the system itself, I don't see a problem with that price tag at all. Not when you consider the fact that a Steam Deck would run you at least the same price. I think. I haven't looked at one recently, but let's take a look. 64 gig and 512. There is no middle ground. Okay. Oh, you can buy one for $400. And it's the same price as the Nintendo Switch 2. Let's see. The display is smaller overall. Refresh rate's at 60 Hz, which is pretty standard. I don't see any other profiling about being able to do 120 or anything like that. Let's see. Well, I like the OLED screens, and Nintendo got me hooked on them, so let's see. The controls are built into the system. You can't detach them. Let's see. That's kind of a minor selling point. The design is completely different from the Switch and actually looks quite cramped. See, this is one thing I will hold against Nintendo right here. You see these stats? Like, all this stuff right here? Yeah, when people go to buy a game system, this is the information that we read. Okay? And actually, these stats aren't that bad. My computer does better, but not by much. Not by much. Where's, there's your refresh rate. Three to 12 hours of gameplay based off of battery life estimates are based on running titles at 30 FPS, 50% brightness, and 50% volume. Okay. So it is capable of 30 FPS, obviously. That's kind of like the standard basic game frames per second. If you wanted to really bitch about something in the Nintendo Switch 2, the size of the internal storage, 256 gigs on account of modern games being their current size is just too small. It's too small. And yes, I can get away with saying that. I have an OLED Switch. I had to go buy a terabyte friggin' SD card just to store some of the games that I own on it. Both digital and physical copies. So there's that. I'd have to stop and actually look, but there are some pretty egregious offenders. Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild are not two of them, by the way. They're actually not that big. First party Nintendo games are sizable, but not huge. Huge is like dropping Call of Duty or Destiny 2 or Halo the Master Chief Collection. Those are huge. And if people. Alright, that's another rumor that I will briefly address. If people really want to have the conversation about having Halo the Master Chief Collection on a Nintendo branded product of some kind, like a Switch, 256 is not gonna cut it. It's just not. You need bigger. Um, and yes, the system can also read and write data faster. That's great. I love that. But if you're gonna release this system at a time where we don't have anything really larger than a 256 memory SD memory card in the type of memory card that you need to be functional with this system, you need to have your internal capacity larger than 256. At minimum, go 512. Because at least with 512, those of us with maybe not the biggest libraries of games in the world, um, but still sizable collections nonetheless, then we don't have to sit there and constantly re-download games every 5 minutes because you can fix your side of the re-downloading games problem and how long it takes as much as you want. But 300 megabytes per second on internet is still 300 megabytes per second on internet. It's fast, but it's still a barrier to entry to get into the game that costs me a half an hour, sometimes an hour, depending on the size of the game. Having the game on hand, or I can just boot it up and get right into it. Can I be honest? As a streamer, that's kind of important. And I know I'm probably not the target audience or the core audience for this thing, which kind of seems like a lie when you consider the camera that comes with it, by the way. It's like Nintendo streaming, they want you to be a streamer when you buy this thing, basically, because they're giving you just about everything you'd need to do it. I swear. Next, you're going to see them partnering up with Streamlabs or StreamYard or something, and you'll be able to multi-stream to other platforms on system, yeah, without having to have a capture card and all this other stuff. Let me guess, that's next. That's a joke. But no, we could argue MSRP versus actual price if you want, but even if it is the real price, like, really, it's one game, and what, Donkey Kong's the other that people were talking about? I just had that pulled up, too, like a dubber. Oh, let's see here. You're not going to see anything in my history that you know, I'm really that worried about. Need to go back to that news article. I don't have it tabbed either. Nah, that was dumb.
Click on explore.
Hmm?
Click on explore. To find it again, click on explore.
Where?
Explore.
I don't have that.
Yes, you do.
Where?
On the white bar. It says
That's
explore.
no, that's not what I'm looking for.
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for a news article that I had pulled up.
Oh, news article. Okay, I thought you were looking for that.
No, 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 no. Found it. Okay. So this crap right here could very well just be directly attributed to their first party titles. Absolutely. 100% could be just attributed to first party titles. And, oh, by the way, well, yeah, and actually, to be honest with you, this part here that says $60 max, they're not even happy that they're $60. They'd rather see 50, okay? Or a lot of them would rather just see 40 or 30. I was kind of surprised about that number, only using subscriptions. I thought that would be a little higher. I'm actually glad it's not, because that's where you get into the territory of you will own nothing, eat the bugs, and live in the pods territory. Walmart has the Mario Kart game physical edition listed as $80 right now. And Donkey Kong is listed at $70 for a physical edition. Where are you getting this information from that physical editions will cost more than digital? Good question. Where is any of this guy's information coming from? I see a lot of fancy charts and words that, enter into a survey about how gamers feel about paying $70 for AAA titles. But yet, that still doesn't change the fact that the prices are going to go up and down according to the market, not according to how you feel. Nintendo justifies the increase with additional game content. Okay. Well, what kind of additional game content? I mean, is it actually going to be $20 worth of additional content beyond what, beyond what you'd normally get for a $60 game? Has anyone asked that question? Again, this is a subjective statement. Okay? Because you can't predict the pricing on all non-first party games. They don't ever put this stuff in here because they're shit at their jobs. Just because two first party titles, Donkey Kong and Mario Kart, are listed at $80 to $90 does not mean that the game from Digital Extremes or whatever that may come out in, 5 years on this platform that's going to be the successor to Warframe because it's more integrated with the motion controls and you can use the camera and the voice system to talk to the NPCs or whatever the heck. I'm pulling stuff out of my butt here. It doesn't mean that Digital Extremes is going to have that price set. And it could be a physical copy, doesn't cost $90 fucking dollars. They are so misleading about this crap. Just by leaving out that these are first party titles. Do I agree that the MSRP being raised by $10 is problematic? Sure. But it's just an MSRP. It doesn't mean that's what it's going to actually be. But if you do want people to spend more, you have to justify it by proving that they're getting more content. You know, I don't mind paying $90 for a video game. I'm going to be clear about that. As long as the content is there, as long as there's proof that it's worth the $90, sure, whatever. But it has to be worth it. You can't give me Suicide Squad kills the Justice League level slop and expect me to pay $90. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Okay? So if this Mario Kart game ends up being literally just Mario Kart 8 with open world and no other features, then I'm going to be scratching my head like, this is not worth $80. It's not even worth $70. It might be worth about $60. To be clear, you know, that's my view on it. But the problem is that all we got was just a little gameplay footage and a trailer. We didn't get, you know, what's so special about this game beyond the open world. And another thing, I think this is kind of funny coming from video game journalists who just got done, like, what, not even 6 months ago, 7 months ago, when all of these special editions of games that start out at the lower end of being like $70, $50 to $70 of just the base game itself. And then there's the next level up that if you wanted to have all the missions that were supposed to be with the game, you have to pay another $40. And if you want to be able to play with your friends and have all the missions for the game, plus the missions that we told you weren't part of the game but actually were, and, you know, all this other shit, they're going to charge you $120. They just love to glass that game. I'm sorry, but you can't bitch about one thing and have someone else do the basically exact same thing to a lesser extent. Let me rephrase that. You can't bitch about one group doing a thing more egregiously the first time around and you don't say a fucking word about it, and then turn around and bitch about someone doing it to a lesser extent. That's not how that works. I mean, you can, but it makes you look like a fucking idiot. But no, I don't know, guys. This just kind of seems like a massive waste of everyone's time. I don't think we have enough information to really roll on. I think what they gave us was kind of part of the story. I don't think the price tag is probably as accurate as people want it to be at MSRP. You know, it says outright, actual price may vary. So I think maybe we should wait and just kind of see what's going on. I think raising these concerns to Nintendo is a good thing to do, but I think getting on YouTube and bitching about it's probably not going to do much. I'm just being honest. You could say it generates negative press or whatever, but I don't know, guys. I don't think this one's really... Okay, that's adorable. I just don't feel that... I just don't feel that all the facts are being openly discussed because the people talking about it either just outright hate Nintendo because they're either PlayStation ponies, PC master racists, or, you know, Xbox fanboys. It's just... Instead of being any one of all the above, maybe take a chill pill and realize that what you're getting for the console itself, the price tag for the console itself, I feel like is fair. I don't have a problem with that. I paid over $1,000 for my gaming laptop. Are you kidding me? It took a couple of months to pay for it, but I did it. We did it, you know. So that just kind of proves the point. It's like, you're gonna honestly sit here with me scratching my head a little bit? Like, you people are gonna whine and complain, excuse me, about a price tag on a system that, by the way, I'm gonna kind of raise the other point too. A lot of the PlayStation ponies and PC Master Race people probably weren't gonna buy it in the first place. Let's be real. And if you were, it's probably going to be for channel content. To be honest, you're not the fans. You're not really the designated target audience, then, are you? So maybe we should actually stop and ask the real people beyond just like 700 and something chat bots spamming drop the price. Or maybe the 20,000 that did it. By the way, 20,000, I kind of got to wonder how many people were actually spamming that drop the price line. Whether it was just the same accounts over and over again, or whether it was like actually real Nintendo fans getting in there and doing it. Kind of seemed like a massive troll to me. But that's just me. I'd kind of like to have someone online get in there and actually dip into the real situation and see who's doing what. So, there's that. No, it's just it's errant stupidity. You can always post that a price is higher and drop it over time. What is the hardest thing to do is to offer a lower price and then get people to pay more. And that's another point too. Just because it costs that much this year, give it 6 months. What happens in 6 months? After what? June 5th? Let's think about that for a minute. June, July, August, September, October, November. You got November on the 5 month, and December is 6 months out. You've got Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and Christmas Eve. And then the following after that, you have tax season. And if you know anything about any of this stuff, you know that people are going to dump money into stupid entertainment gadgets because why not? Okay? And it's typically going to fall around Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Christmas Eve, and tax season. Well, they would, but we're kind of in a shit world right now that certain people are trying to fix, but it's just not really that easy. But yeah. Just, if you're going to talk about this stuff, go through all the actual facts. Don't just go off of the cuff, please. Mention the fact that this price is the MSRP and subject to change. Mention the fact that these are first-party titles that are on that are exclusive to a console that they get to set their own price tag for. I mean, shit. That's pretty basic knowledge. You almost don't have to say it, but you probably should, because there's a lot of people out there who are just like, why has no one said this? First party titles, MSRP, there's about a dozen other things that could happen between now and June 5th when this thing is supposed to release that could drop the price tag at any moment. It's just... This is why I hate advertising. And that's another thing, too. The website might have those numbers up. But Nintendo could see the fan backlash, or maybe even say, that number's not right. Why is that so high or so low? Okay. We're still... How many days ago was that Nintendo Direct, babe?
There was one...
No. The one for the announcement for the Switch. The day that it happened. It was like 3 days ago.
Yeah, it was on Wednesday.
Alright.
Another one
So...
3 days before that.
So, it happened 3 days ago. I don't know how the Japanese do things, but there's theoretically a world where this could be a part of an oversight too. So maybe give them another week before completely raking them over the coals, right? But definitely mention that the price seems a little steep. There's nothing wrong with mentioning that. Because the more they know, and when they start seeing the sales data impacted, it won't be impacted by me or my fiance, because we've already discussed it. We both are getting one. I'm getting one mostly for channel content. If I'm being perfectly blunt, it's so when Metroid 4 comes out, I can do a thing. Right? Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat that. That's kind of what I'm waiting for. I'll be waiting for a while, which means I have plenty of time to get it, but it's gonna take some time for the hands to get used to the new Joy-Cons and all kinds of stuff. And there's features for it that I wanted to learn, like the mouse mode and all that stuff. But I think there's a whole lot of doom and gloom and a lot of partiality coming from people who don't like Nintendo products. I personally, the only thing that I have against Nintendo is their current issue with Pal World. Outside of that, I couldn't care less about their other issues. Like, I'm gonna be blunt. I'd love to see Pal World on a Nintendo product. Hell yeah. I'd love to see it get full-throated support from Nintendo and Pokemon Company and everything else as an older person's version of an IP that's more meant for younger kids. This is what it was supposed to be. Literally, it's what it was. An open-world survival game that's more designed for older kids and adults, and it's not the target audience is different. It is. Oh, but they're still cute creatures. Yeah, for the most part for now. Because they couldn't go with a Monster Hunter aesthetic because we already have Monster Hunter. You just couldn't do it. Also, I'm not sure if you can in any of the new Monster Hunter Wilds or any other Monster Hunter title. I don't know if you can actually have the monsters that you kill or capture or whatever do any work for you of any sort, but that's because I'm not. I liked Monster Hunter World. I haven't really played any other title outside of that, so yeah. There's a whole probably I don't know how many games that I missed on that particular series entirely, which a lot of people have informed me that I'm really missing out. There's a lot of things I missed out on. It's called being in Alaska for most of my childhood and not having access to these things. And I'm just kind of playing catch up with some of it. Other stuff I'm not, but again, take my word with a grain of salt, and you should take any online personality with a grain of salt, right? Go out, look at the price tag yourself, look at the advertisement, look at the features, see if it's what you want in the first place. If it's not, don't get it. Go get a Steam Deck and be about the same price tag. But it'll also have its issues too. Just like gaming on a cell phone will with a backbone, just like playing on a tablet will with an Xbox controller. They all are gonna have some kind of issue. I just like the idea that, they're coming out with a Nintendo Switch, that the frame rates aren't going to dog out whenever I make something in Tears of the Kingdom that is quote-unquote too much for the system to handle and crash me out of, certain games like Warframe every so often because the Switch 1 is just not designed to handle that kind of load that well. So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But by all means, mention the price tag. Don't be afraid to let them know. But don't do something stupid. It's a good idea to mention that you're dissatisfied with their pricing. It's a bad idea to go out and get stupid about it. So, just thought. But I'm going to leave it right there. If you guys like the content, hit the like and subscribe button. Keep ahead.